know what Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg told a Senate hearing back in April?
There is certain content that clearly we do not allow, right? Hate speech, terrorist content, nudity, anything that makes people feel unsafe in the community. From that perspective, that's why we generally try to refer to what we do as a platform for all ideas.
A platform for all ideas, really? Over the past few months, Facebook and other tech giants have given us ample reason to doubt that proclamation. The latest example started early yesterday morning when Apple pulled several podcasts associated with the controversial and often incendiary Alex Jones from the iTunes store. Facebook followed suit, unpublishing 4 of Jones' pages, claiming the videos on those pages violated that hate speech policy. Hours later, YouTube decided it wasn't going to miss out on all that censorship fun, and YouTube suspended the Alex Jones channel with its 2.4 million subscribers. Well, it's easy to dismiss concerns about big tech's actions, all coordinated, it seems, to shut down Jones, because, of course, he's the media's poster child for conspiracy theories. But this isn't about Alex Jones. This is about freedom and our access to information from the sources we as individuals trust and like. If big tech can control the information flow, then they can also perhaps even influence the outcome of the midterms and even future presidential elections.
Essentially, Alex Jones has been deleted, digitally deplatformed from these websites. You wonder if he'll have any influence going forward, because these private companies do have an incredible amount of control over the internet.
And that's the point. Controlling who has a voice and who doesn't on these monster platforms is tantamount to limiting speech. And as you'll see in a moment, it's also viewpoint discrimination. Back in February, Facebook launched a new algorithm that would cause top conservative pages to see a dramatic drop in traffic. And this included personal pages, by the way. President Trump's Facebook page saw a 45% drop. Diamond and Silk said their content was similarly blocked on Facebook.
Facebook, along with other social media sites, have taken aggressive actions to silence conservative voices such as ourselves by deliberately restricting and weaponizing our page with algorithms that censor and suppress our free speech.
Next, it was YouTube, who let conservative influencers build up an audience for years, only to end up limiting their channels, temporarily demonetizing them with no warning at all. This has happened to conservative commentators like Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, and Dennis Prager. For many on the left, the view seems to have become that if you can't beat them, prevent them from speaking. Just look at what's happened to conservative speakers on college campuses. And after liberal radio hosts flopped on Air America, remember them? Well, some Democrats sought to revive the fairness doctrine to snuff out conservative talk radio. Thankfully, that went nowhere. But now they've moved on to the internet and squelching political speech there. A leaked proposal circulating among Senate Democrats outlines a detailed plan to take over the internet by regulating digital platforms and purging content they deem harmful or inaccurate. In other words, information they don't like. It would require social media users to be tracked and labeled according to how reasonable their content is deemed to be. Democrat Senator Chris Murphy even hinted at this yesterday, tweeting, "InfoWars is the tip of a giant iceberg of hate and lies that uses sites like Facebook and YouTube to tear our nation apart. These companies must do more than take down one website. The survival of our democracy depends on it." How dramatic. Translation, the survival of the Democratic Party depends on it. There's an old saying in TV and radio that content is king. Same goes for the internet. If they can shut down political speech on the grounds that it's hateful, you have to ask, where does this end? If you want to see hate, check out some of the comments on my Twitter feed after the show tonight. Then you'll see hateful. Why do leftists, by the way, always seem to escape big tech censors? I don't know, Louis Farrakhan comes to mind. He's a casual racist, of course, and an anti-Semite who called white people, quote, potential humans, praised Hitler, and blamed Jews for 9/11. Well, he's still standing tall on his Facebook page, has 1 million followers. And what about those who traffic in violence? If Facebook really cares about standards of safety, I don't think they'd be granting Antifa chapters from coast to coast where their pages can plug their next thuggish beatdown of conservatives with their black hoods and all. And by the way, if there's so much concern over conspiracy theories like the one Alex Jones peddles, well, do moments like this give social media kings pause?
The fact of the matter is, he's not only bad because he's a liar, he's bad because he doesn't know how to inspire people or evoke that emotion in them of
what about his rallies?
Knowing. And there, first of all, people are paid, Chris. You know that. People were paid since he went down on the escalator. He pays people to show up at those rallies.
I don't.
Trump pays people to go to his rallies. That'd be a lot of money. She still has a YouTube channel. The truth is, we conservatives always want more political speech, not less of it, even when it's offensive to us. Our only point usually about speech is limiting it if there's a direct incitement to violence or material that's injurious to children. But political speech in general, we want more. Now, while Facebook and Apple are private companies and thus aren't state actors for First Amendment purposes, they better be really careful with these moves to circumscribe certain groups' political speech. Because voters in the future, they might just demand that Facebook, Twitter, YouTube be treated more like public utilities that have to operate in the public interest. For instance, a utility can't refuse to give electricity to a family because they disagree with their views or, heaven forbid, because they're of a different race. They act in the public interest. Ted Cruz, by the way, in response to the Alex Jones purge, said tech companies have, quote, a degree of power and an ability to censor that William Randolph Hearst, at the height of yellow journalism, could never have imagined. They have the ability, if there is a speaker who is disfavored, simply to silence the speaker. Your words float off into oblivion and nobody hears them. Well, he's right about their power. The big 5 tech companies are now worth an estimated $4 trillion. Well, that figure puts them above the GDP of all but 7 countries on the planet. The immense size of these companies is concerning, but so too is the speed with which they can succumb to external pressure. Point in case. Just 3 weeks ago, Mark Zuckerberg defended keeping InfoWars on his platform.
We look at the things that are getting the most distribution. If people have flagged them as potential hoaxes, we send those to fact checkers. And if those fact checkers say that it is provably false, then we will significantly reduce the distribution of that content.
Why don't you want to just say, get off our platform?
Well, look, as abhorrent as some of this content can be, I do think that it gets down to this principle of giving people a voice.
Well, right. So why did he end up caving here? Well, we'll continue to demand answers for you. Remember when disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok texted Lisa Page about an insurance policy to keep Trump from getting elected? Remember that? Well, maybe, just maybe, these latest moves are the beginning of big tech's own version of an insurance policy to see that someone with Trump's views never reaches a position of authority in government again. And that's the angle.